Hey, this is Anonymous T. Welcome to the Anonymous T podcast. This is my backup channel to my main channel, Anonymous T. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to both platforms as I will be uploading consistent content on both. In this video, we are talking about Netflix's The Ultimatum South Africa edition. You guys, I was not ready for all this drama because I was so tuned out of Love is Blind and The Ultimatum, the American versions. They were not giving what they used to give, and I was delaying watching this Ultimatum because I wasn't sure whether or not this cast was going to bring it. And they brought it, you guys. They brought it so good that I almost thought it was scripted, you guys. I almost thought it was fake because that's how entertained I was, you guys. So in this video, we're just going to spoil the entire season because I binge watched it one of these days this week, and I was glued to my seat, you guys. So those of you guys who don't know, Netflix has a show called The Ultimatum, and what it is these couples, either the male or the female partner in the relationship, they've either been together for at least a year or more, and they are demanding after an extended period of time, hey, what are we doing? Are we going to get married or are we going to break up? They feel like they've reached a crossroads, right? So they do this trial marriage now for 6 weeks. The first 3 weeks, they swap with another couple and live with them, meet each other's family, and all of the things, and try to see if some of the issues that they have with their partner or issues within themselves, if it manifests with these new partners and these new trial marriages, or if things get worse, right? Or if there's no change, right? And then after that, they go back to their original partners for the last 3 weeks, and there is a decision day in which either the couples decide to get engaged or break up or stay together and not get engaged, right? But nonetheless, I was not ready for all of the scandal. There was drama all the way up until the end. There was drama at the reunion. There is drama off the show. Nonetheless, we're going to talk about it all, you guys. And I may do a separate video for the reunion. It depends on how long this video goes. But we've got to discuss this, you guys. So a few things. I was not ready. Spoiler, like I said, the spoiler for the first 10 episodes. Let's just get into the swap couples first and the issues in the main couples because it was a lot. Starting with Ruth and Noah, you guys. Having sex, like what, the first or second night, I believe. Ruth, real talk, you guys, Ruth was over Isaac. This show, regardless, it wasn't specific to Nala per se. She was looking to hook up with anybody and anyone that was not named Isaac, you guys. The family / friends exposed in that meetup that Ruth allegedly feels nothing when she is intimate with Isaac. So there was no chance, even if Isaac proposed, that this was ever going to go the distance, right? But my thing is this: if you've been with somebody for 2 years, long distance or not, and they have yet to meet your family, you are not their girlfriend, you guys. I don't care what you say. You are not their girlfriend. You are a side chick. You are an entanglement, you guys. There is somebody else that they prefer to have their family around, not you. And it was so embarrassing when Ruth finally did meet a couple of Isaac's relatives because they were like, we've never even heard of you. So that right there should tell you what the priority was as it pertained to things. I don't even think Isaac even wanted to get back with Ruth after what happened with Noah. I think he was trying to put on a brave face and all of these things and trying to do what he would think would be the right and honorable thing to do. But nonetheless, it just wasn't going to happen, right? It just wasn't going to happen. He was pretending these last couple weeks. He knew he wasn't going to propose. He knew. But he knew that he had the upper hand in terms of what the edit is going to look like. He's going to have the upper hand in this situation with Ruth and Noah. So therefore, he played his part well, you guys. He almost had me convinced that he wanted Ruth back. But I was never convinced that, you know, ultimately some man cannot get over their girl sleeping with somebody else, right? No matter how you slice it, no matter how you dice it, I never got the vibe that Isaac would ever fully be over it, and it never happens on these reality shows. And I think he was just playing the part to look like the good guy, to look like, hey, even after everything, I was still going to be down for you. But this relationship was dead on arrival, you guys. This relationship had zero chance before the show even began, right? So that was them, right? And then as far as Nola and Lebo go, I hated everything about this relationship, you guys. It was so toxic. The scene where they're doing their introductory video and Nola is holding the umbrella for himself and not even extending the umbrella to Lebo tells you everything you need to know. And sorry, you guys, if I'm butchering your names. I apologize. But tells you everything you need to know. And for one, you're not even that fine to be acting like an F-boy the way that you are. But he gets off, I think, on, you know, trying to make Lebo feel small and have a low self-esteem, in part because of her appearance and all of the things. And so he purposefully flirts with these other women in front of her that she may feel potentially could be a threat. And I think that he's cheated on her before, because for him so willy-nilly, I think the first or second night to sleep with another woman, and you've barely even scratched the surface of the purpose of this experiment in this trial marriage. It hasn't even been like a few days or anything. You guys just got right to it, and she said it hasn't happened once or twice or thrice. It has been happening for constant nights, right? But again, I was tired of the lying. I was tired of the gaslighting. If you're going to be an F-boy, own it, right? Why are you going to lie? And this is going to be on global television. Everyone around the world is going to see your tomfoolery. So why would you lie about sleeping with somebody when you know this is being recorded 24/7? Oh, you thought you were just going to ride this out until the show aired? No. That is not how this works. So everything, of course, came to head in this situation because ultimately, Lebo was having suspicions that things were not right on the home front, so her and her trial marriage partner, Aiden, was spying on, Nola and Ruth, and I think one time they were, like, holding hands in the bed, and they were pissed off because they're like, this is an invasion of privacy and all of the things, but nonetheless, after a big fight, Ruth realizes, that Nola is not the one, that Nola played in her face, she basically was like, you know what, I'm just going to tell Lebo the truth and keep it a buck with her. And Nola didn't like that. Nola at first denied it, and then he got pissed off and decided to just call Isaac and tell him, and have Isaac come there, and all HE broke loose, you guys. Like, this storyline was massive, right? And it got so bad to the point that Nola and Lebo ultimately left the experiment, you guys. They didn't even last through the initial trial marriage because, again, Nola was checked out. He was playing like he was still going to go back to Lebo when it was all said and done, and he was just sowing his oats. But there was no way you could come back from just having sex repeatedly with another woman and completely treating your current girl like crap, right? So nonetheless, they were no longer a part of the experiment. However, Isaac and Ruth continued on separately, until it was time for them to get back together for their trial marriage, right? So nonetheless, I mean, not Isaac separately, I apologize, but separately in that, he was kind of alone in his trial marriage too, which we'll get to in a moment. The other couple swap that I found very intriguing was the love triangle between Lindo, and Thabi and SZA, you guys. I was very intrigued. I was intrigued by it all. And Genesis, poor guy. Genesis, here's the thing. So Genesis is the guy who, like, you know, they built themselves up. They finally have new money and all these things. And so they figure, hey, you've been around when I was nothing, and now you're still around when I am something. I'm going to see how long I can delay ever marrying you, right? And that was Genesis's game plan, right? Except for Dabi said, absolutely not. We're not going to play this game. Either you're going to marry me or this isn't going to be it, right? And so I think Genesis would have appreciated the experiment more had he had been with a partner that was actually interested in him, right? Which we will get to in a moment. As for Dabi and Lindell, you guys, I thought they were going to get together in the end. I truly did. I saw fireworks. I saw sparks, you know, all kinds of things. They're up here getting each other gifts and everything, and just really, you know, communicating well, getting along. Because at the beginning, we really didn't see too much of their progression as a couple because there was so much chaos with the Ruth and Nola thing, and there was so much chaos going on as it pertained to Isaac and his partner, and Cat and his partner, and all the things, you guys. It was just a lot. It was just a lot, you guys. So by the time we saw, like, the strength of their connection, it was towards the end of the experiment. And then there was a comment made that said that he was intimate with Dabi, but we don't know the extent of that intimate encounter that took place. Like, what do you mean? Because we didn't see it on camera. And this is what's crazy about reality TV, right? So they knew they hit a gold mine with the Ruth and Nola storyline, right? So they were going to show you all of the raunchiness and the chaos of that. But in fact, if there were actually other couples that were sleeping together or doing some things that were more intimate than just kissing and all of that, it was nowhere to be found on the show. They wanted to make it seem as if Ruth and Nola were the only ones that went beyond kissing. But clearly, that was not the case with how attached Dabi and Lindell were to each other. And I am shocked they did not get together, because it reminded me, I believe it was season 2, I want to say, with April and her trial marriage guy, the mix guy, little Patrick Mahomes kind of guy. Basically, they got together and they had all this chemistry to the point by the time they got back to their original partners, they were not feeling it, right? And ended up getting together. I thought that was going to be the direction. And who knows? It still may be the direction if the fans are still fanning over the strength of their chemistry online and they're seeing some of the edits and the comments and all of the things. But nonetheless, it appears that this was enough to, you know, get Lindell in line with SZA. But SZA, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Her jealous streak is something, you guys. One thing I didn't like, and maybe it was edited out, so she got pissed off because Dabi brought over a gift for Lindell, but it was a thank you because she had already got this gift, but she didn't know the appropriate time to give it to him because he gave her his gift basically when she first came back to the room, except for Genesis was there. And so that was a little bit awkward, right? So nonetheless, she brings it over. Well, you know, SZA isn't there. SZA sees this. Now, what Lindell should have did was hide the gift, right? He should have hid this to where, you know, it wouldn't have been found, right? It wouldn't have been a thing. But it purposefully was out there in the open on the kitchen counter, you guys. And therefore, she was not having it. And so she walked over to where Dabi was at with Genesis and basically said, thanks, but no thanks. You're not going to be sending these things to my man. And it was just hilarious for me. Because in that moment, I was thinking, okay, well, do you know your man is the one that initiated this, right? So I still want to know to this day. I don't care about what happened at the reunion. I need to know what the tea is on these two, right? Because there is an update that is interesting as it pertains to Dabi and Genesis that I feel like Dabi still can, you know, maybe she's rewatched the episodes and rewatched her connection with Lindell and is having some other considerations, you guys. Also, as for SZA, speaking of her, her connection with Kat was crazy. I don't know if Kat was acting or not. I don't know if because of Kanya was just so, oh my gosh, she was just so over the top. She was just too much. Like, on one hand, I respected the fact that she is a no-nonsense person. She wants what she wants. She's unapologetic. She is not going to settle for less. But on the flip side, it appears that Kat is broke, right? Or doesn't have the money or the finances or the resources that you're claiming the lifestyle that you want and that you're accustomed to. So make it make sense, right? And so nonetheless, I had suspected if they've only been together a little over a year and they have this much fireworks and Kat has not gone anywhere, that there's a level to this that he enjoys, right? And the moment that I knew that he enjoys his girlfriend losing it was the moment when, SZA was crying about being, yelled at and called a hood rat and called all these things, and she was hoping that Kat was going to go over there and tell his girl, like, listen, you went too far, this isn't it. Instead, he walks her over into the lion's den, you guys, and then Kat disappears. He disappears and lets SZA just have to take it all. She was fat shamed. She was called a hood rat again. She was, the table was shaking to get her out of there. And, SZA, she like laughs when she cries and laughs when she's happy, laughs when she's sad, laughs just whenever. And so, but this really broke her. This really, emotionally was just exhausting because they just had this girls like pajama night in which, again, she was already called a hood rat then. So I don't know if she was jealous of the connection between Kat and SZA. I think both of their partners felt away because they never saw their partners being out and about because they were doing a lot of like piggyback riding and they were out, on, the walking path, just doing coupley stuff and being lovey-dovey, and people had an issue, right? People were not having it, right? And so nonetheless, I think the get back with Kat's girl was like, hey, I'm going to fat shame SZA. I am going to tear her down and her self-esteem and come up with the most malicious things I can think of and, make her feel small and make her not want to do anything with my man, right? And ultimately, that's what happened. It seemed as though, like, a lot of these couples, it was free reign to kiss, whomever. And I was kind of shocked because on the American version of the Ultimatum, the first 2 seasons, people were scared to do anything, right? It took a little bit longer for things to progress because they were too busy crying, missing their exes, you guys. But that was not the case here. This was the first time I saw these people on the show really take it seriously for what it was. It was almost as if they forgot their ex existed, right? The only people who were actually concerned about their ex, really, to be honest, was really Lebo. But nobody else really cared, right? Because Isaac had a birthday and, Ruth didn't call. She didn't care because she was getting her rocks off. So again, once they were in these trial marriages, they really did take it seriously for what it's worth outside of all of the chaos and drama. Isaac was miserable in his trial marriage. I think the first couple of days, the first week, everything was like the honeymoon phase. He was kissing her and all of that. And then the real came out. Then she started leaving the dishes dirty. Then she started saying, listen, this is my bed. And all of the things. And Isaac is just completely like and utterly, freaking out. But I think she got pissed when he said that he wanted to split the bills, you guys. That was not going to happen, right? And so nonetheless, that was going to be a short-lived union. I think they both couldn't wait to get away from each other and all of the things, right? And so you're thinking by the time that, she gets back together with Kat, that we're going to see, all this toxicity, but it started off that way. And then I kind of saw their dynamic and I was like, oh, I see why they're together. They enjoy each other's chaos. They enjoy seeing each other lose it. It's like foreplay to them, right? So nonetheless, I was not surprised at all that they stuck together, right? But then Kat pulled the reverse Uno at the decision day and put this ring on her finger, and I thought it was an engagement ring for all intents and purposes, and he was like, this is a promise, and I'm going to promise that one day we're going to get engaged. And I said, what? I said, what? I said, oh, this dude had no intentions of marrying this girl. He had no intentions, and from what was exposed at the reunion, I see why he played this the way that he did. Because he had zero intentions of ever making this thing official, because he already knew what was coming, right? But he knew that she was not going to go anywhere either, that there was no way they were going to officially break up. So therefore, they were always going to be in each other's lives. So why not just do a promise ring when it's all said and done? And apparently there's extensive issues that she has with his mom. I don't know how that's working out, if they've resolved that or not, but that is just absolutely and utterly crazy. I was cracking up. Like I said, there was drama up until the last episodes, you guys. Like, it was just crazy, right? I was happy to see the change in Genesis. I feel like he really stepped it up when he saw how happy Thabi was with another person. It really kind of whipped him into shape and made him realize that he really could lose his girl when it was all said and done. And then we finally get to Courtney and Aiden, you guys. So a couple of things. I don't know how interracial dating goes in South Africa, but I kind of got the vibe that they were not as keen to the other couples, or they were keen to the other couples, but didn't want it exposed on camera. Because Courtney definitely had a thing for Kat, but was not happy when Kat decided to choose SZA, right, as his partner. She was like very much attracted to Kat, and I think something would have went down. And then the first kiss with Genesis didn't happen till the night before they had to do the switch off to their original partners. But even then, the kiss was under the sheets. So I was wondering, I'm like, is she embarrassed? Is she ashamed that if, you know, because he's black? Like, I was confused, right, on what was taking place. Like, is she really just friend zoning him just to friend zone him? Or is there something else? Is there an underlying issue here? And I definitely think had Aiden paired up with Thabi, he would have had the same type of reaction as Lindell. He would have been in love with her, and that would have been a threat to Courtney and his relationship, you guys. It absolutely would have. Now, as for this relationship, right, Courtney and Aiden, quote unquote, appear to be the most stable, but it's not really saying much because of the fact that the rest of the couples were so dysfunctional. He was unemployed and had been unemployed. They had been together for 7 years. There was sketchy information because their parents never met each other, and it sounded like each other really didn't spend too much time with each other's parents, even though you've been together for 7 years. That was very sus. And it just seemed like Aiden was just living the high life and just not really motivated to do much of anything, which is why he was with her for 7 years before, you know, ever thinking of proposing. Right? And so nonetheless, we get a scene where finally the parents meet each other for the first time, and finally, you know, Aiden is having his first one-on-one with Courtney's parents, in which they said since his father's overseas that they can look at him as a second father. And I'm like, you guys have been together 7 years, right? Make it make sense as to why we're having all of these grand meetings right now, right? So that was very weird. But ultimately, they ended up getting engaged when it was all said and done. Aiden had asked for Courtney's parents' blessing for him to propose to her. And then Courtney also had a promise ring of sorts hidden in her shoe that she whipped out on decision day and all of the things. And they just talked about, you know, making sure he continues to try to apply for jobs, apply for work, and that they were going to work on their issues that they had, but definitely they intend on getting married, right? So there is that, you guys. So this one a little bit long, so I will do a separate video to talk about the reunion and the mess that was. Oh, and real quickly, as far as the hosts were a cute couple, but nonetheless, as I will say in my reunion video, I feel like they could have went harder in the paint, and I don't think they took certain things as seriously as they should have to really hold these couples accountable. So nonetheless, we will get into that in my next video. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you guys watch you know, the Ultimatum South Africa on Netflix? And if you haven't, you guys, definitely tune in. It's definitely entertaining. It is worth the watch. It picks up fairly quickly as far as the drama goes. The drama does not stop all the way into the very last episode, all the way through the reunion. There is still chaos taking place, so you will not be bored. You will be entertained, because it reminded me of classic reality TV where these people do not care about their perception on social media or what people think of them. They're just going to do them. And that's going to be on that, right? And that's what I appreciated too. Ruth stood 10 toes down. Anytime anybody questioned her having sex with Nola, she was like, listen, I'm grown. I knew what I wanted. I did what I needed to do. And it is that, right? Take me or leave me. So I was here for it, right? I was here for all of it. So there is that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.